John Wesley, the reformer, once said that you should earn all you can so you can save all you can so that you can give all you can. Prosperity, Jesus, and responsibility of persons and societies. When we think about prosperity, when we think about wealth as a good, we can think of it in individual terms, or we can think about it in collectivist terms, in societal terms, in systemic terms. Terms like capitalism or socialism or communism, for example. You can argue whether or not one of those is better for human flourishing. And you can fight wars over it, and we have, and we probably will continue to do so, from Cold Wars to warm wars and really, really hot wars. But while absent from the minds of many, Jesus impacted economics before it was a thing. Pinker endorses the capitalist enterprise, or what we might call market-based economies, as a means of great prosperity, as a civilizational good, and shows how capitalism has lifted billions, literally, over 4 billion people out of abject poverty. And he mentions the person Adam Smith, a moral philosopher and economist before economics was a thing, published in 1776, An Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations. That's the year of the Declaration of Independence. He was the father of modern economics. But what Pinker fails to do is to give credit to whom credit is due, and to realize that Adam Smith was a Christian, a devout Christian, who talked about the market-based economies of capitalism, for example, by appealing to the invisible hand of God, he called it. He has a famous line in his book that says that it was not out of beneficence or benevolence that the butcher, the baker, and the brewer produce our food for us every night on the table. Rather, it was out of self-interest. Not out of selfishness, but self-interest. And there is something to market-based economies. When you free people up and you have at least a moderately strong governmental force enabling this freedom to march out and do what it does without regulating tightly these human relations, these value exchanges come together. Someone wants a product that someone else makes, the product price is given, they both come together, they agree on it, and they both come away saying, I got what I wanted, what I paid for it. I sold the product for what I wanted. And out of that wealth, creation from little transactions comes massive wealth. And it wasn't in 1776, but 1789 with the Federalist Papers and the Founding Fathers, with Alexander Hamilton and James Madison arguing for not a bloated government, but a strong central government that could allow commerce and the market freedoms to flourish in the way they naturally do, as though there's an invisible hand behind this thing. And within decades, America was off to the races to become the wealthiest nation the world has ever seen, and other people have wanted to copy it. Even China wants to copy it, though a formal communist government operates somewhat capitalistically in its economy. So Pinker wants to credit that to secularism, but his Harvard colleague and department head of economics disagrees. Benjamin Friedman defends the vital role of Christianity in the birth of capitalism, even if the contemporary scene has since divorced itself from its origins. We might say that the contemporary scene is living on the borrowed capital of its original motivation. Pinker demurs concerning Marxism as a social good, and granted, that can be disputed. This is a debatable issue. I'm published in Marxist thought. I studied Marxism at the graduate level here and have been published in peer-reviewed journals. But I think it's an observable empirical fact that capitalism, or market-based economies, I'd rather use that. Capitalism has since evolved, it's changed, such that the workers today are actually the owners too. You got a 401k, you own the corporation, right? But it has literally taken out half the world out of abject poverty. Socialism cannot claim that as an observable empirical fact. And the leaders of those movements, like Lenin, like Stalin, like Mao, Pol Pot, Kim Jong-il, Castro, they never lived when the dictatorship of the proletariat finally arose, they never lived in the same tents of squalor that their proletariat laborers that they were supposed to have, liberated, lived in. They lived in mansions. And more than that, they killed 100 million of their own people. Far from Marxism's socialistic impetus for non-charitable, coercive, forced redistribution of wealth, from each according to their ability, to each according to their need, as it were, Jesus modeled giving by giving of himself. And the early church followed down through the line, through the centuries. They gave to the poor via voluntary charity, not involuntary charity. Marx, despite his Judeo-Christian upbringing, did not follow. And we might say the tale of two Jews here is that Jesus was the better Jew practicing the principles of Judaism. If a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. And that the biblical world embraced private property, which socialism denies. And the responsibility of the fruit of one's labor. In fact, without the possession of private property, the commandment not to steal doesn't even make conceptual sense. I bring that up because many people want to claim that Jesus actually was a socialist, right? And the early church was socialistic. They had everything in common and they redistributed it. But they did so voluntarily. And they got in trouble when they tried to hold back some of the price and try to just show people what they were doing by appearance and not in reality. But like this, capitalism or a market-based economy has actually, in appealing to some of these self-interests which motivate people to excellence, have brought about many virtues of responsibility, virtues of hard work, innovation, creativity. The Christians who viewed this saw themselves as emulating God in God's innovative and creativeness. They were creative. They were innovative. They produced products of excellence, and the more you can compete in a marketplace, the best products can rise to the surface. And then wealth accumulation. It wasn't just about hoarding things. The Christian mission wasn't about greed. Money was not a problem. It was the love of money and making money a god. John Wesley, the reformer, once said that you should earn all you can so you can save all you can so that you can give all you can. And the early Christians viewed, and the Jews as well, they viewed work as a form of workship or worship, right? When Max Weber, the great German sociologist, looked around the world and tried to understand how, since the 18th and 19th centuries, the majority of the world was still in extreme poverty, how all of a sudden most of the world came out of abject poverty. He wrote the book, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, and observed that people started to view everybody having a vocation, that the most important role wasn't simply the priest or the missionary or the pastor, but that we want that to collapse, that bifurcation to collapse, and we want to be able to see that everyone has not just an occupation, but a vocation, not just a job, but a calling. And there was infused then a spiritual character to work. Work was a form of worship, and it corresponded to the scriptures that say, do all you do as if for the Lord. Work as though you're working for the Lord. And suddenly this engine just burst forth. And so it was these kinds of things, and there's more from where that came from, but these kinds of things that paved the way to Adam Smith and the Wealth of Nations, where work was given a spiritual character.